Hey guys, and welcome to the next episode of the game Gengo JLPT N3 Grammar Series. In this video, we're going to be covering Koto wa nai, KURAI, and GURAI, Koto ni Natteiru, and also Koto wa GA. So in this video, you'll learn exactly how to use all of these pieces of grammar thanks to a ton of different examples from Japanese video games, as well as the most simplest explanations of exactly how these pieces of grammar are used. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
お前の父は決して暗黒面から出ていくことはない。お前もまた同じだ。
Koto wa nai. This next piece of grammar, koto wa nai, is quite simply used to say that there is no need to do a certain action, or that a certain action never takes place. It can be used both as a way of consoling someone to make them feel better, as well as a way of criticizing another's actions, saying that they don't need to do that certain action. To use this, simply put a verb in the dictionary form, followed by koto wa nai, to express not needing to do that verb, or that there is no possibility of something, or that something never happens.
なるほど。だが俺が主体になることはない。あんたの世話にはならねえよ。
森のことを知っていれば、人だって山の生き物と同じ。何も心配することはない。
謝ることはないよ。あんたは前に進んだのさ。
理由によ。恐れることはない。
驚くことはない。これがプロの能力だよ。
気にすることはない。
大丈夫。
気持ちはわかるが、もう我慢することはない。
So in this first example from Ryuga Gotoku Isshin, we can see 主体になることはない, saying that I'll never become a dead body. Here in Shenmue 2, we can see there is no need to worry about anything. So worry here is shinpai suru, followed by koto wa nai shows that there's no need to worry. Shinpai suru koto wa nai. Or like here in Life is Strange, saying that there is no need to apologize. Ayamaru koto wa nai. So in this example, an alternative could actually be hitsuyo nai. It's not needed. Or like here in Final Fantasy VII Remake with Sephiroth saying, there is no need to be afraid. Or like seen here in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, with Android 16 saying to Gohan that you no longer need to hold back. Gaman suru koto wa nai. So as we can see, koto wa nai mainly has two different uses. Either that there is no need to do a certain action. Here it's used as a way of consoling someone or criticizing someone's actions. So it's okay, you don't need to do that action. But it can also be used to say that something never happens, so that such a thing never occurs.
おかえり、カイネ。
ずいぶん立派になったな。どのくらい眠っていたんだ、私は。
5年だよ。
KURAI, GURAI. This next piece of grammar at the N3 level is KURAI and GURAI, which can be used to express the extent of something. It shows an approximation of the amount of something. Like how in English we say, around dun dun dun. Well, KURAI and GURAI can be used in the same way. Like, around 5 people are here. 5人くらいいる. So this can be used with verbs, nouns, e-adjectives, as well as na-adjectives following the na. One thing to note is that both KURAI and GURAI have the same meaning and are actually interchangeable. So like seen here in Near Replicant, about how long, dono kurai. And that this piece of grammar is actually very similar to another piece of language that we learn at the N3 level, hodo. However, hodo is a bit more formal, stiff language and expresses a stronger degree of extent than KURAI and GURAI does. KURAI and GURAI is very simply just around, making an approximation of the amount.
2064年って未来80年ぐらい先の時代に来ちゃったの嘘でしょ
バミューダ島の沖800キロぐらいか大西洋のど真ん中 うちのおじいちゃん、まめな人だから。
まめな人？
そう。もう頭が上がらないくらいに尊敬してるんだ。
そうなんか？いや、実はもう体がバラバラになりそうなくらい辛くてな。
寒い寒い寒い。ね、山頂はまだなの？あとどれくらい登ればいいのよ。
我らはお前を解放し謝罪した。名前くらい名乗らぬか。
For example, like in 13 Sentinels, about 80 years, 80年ぐらい. In Metal Gear Solid 2, we can see located around or about 800 kilometers off the coast of Bermuda. So here, 800 kilo kurai, around 800 kilometers. However, as I said previously, kurai and gurai actually hold a very similar meaning to hodo, another piece of N3 grammar, and this means to the extent. So here it's really expressing the extent of something, like seen here in Boku no Natsuyasumi 2. Atama ga agaranai kurai, to the extent that I can't raise my head. Or like seen here in Yakuza 0, to the extent that my body is almost falling apart. We can also see here in Dragon Quest, ato dore kurai, so after how long. So here kurai is asking about the extent, about how long. Finally, there's one more use of kurai as seen here in Near Replicant again, and here it means at least. Like seen here with won't you at least tell us your name? Namae kurai, at least your name. There is a connection here with the extent of doing something as well. In this use where you're saying at least this is actually more like the lowest extent. It's giving the lowest possible condition or restriction. But there is a connection. For example, have a look at this sentence. Kirai na hito demo attara aisatsu gurai wa suru you ni shiteiru. So, even if I met someone that I didn't like, I would at least try to greet them if I met them. So you could see this as attara aisatsu gurai wa suru. If I meet them, I would at least greet them. But you could look at it as if I meet them, I will do to the extent of greeting them. So the extent of what I'm going to do will be to greet. Or for example here, jibun no nimotsu kurai jibun de motte. So at least hold on to your own luggage yourself. Well, you could look at it as the extent of your own luggage, hold it yourself. This isn't very natural English, however this is the connection between where kurai and gurai can both mean to the extent of doing something, asking around how much of an extent, or to the very least extent of doing something.
彼らが何を入手し、何を使おうが、我らは関与しないことになっているが。
Koto ni natteiru. This next piece of grammar, koto ni natteiru, is used to express rules, customs, and schedules that have already been decided. So it's a piece of language that explains how things are in an objective sense. It states how things are. To use koto ni natteiru, simply follow a verb in the dictionary form or the nai form, followed with koto ni natteiru to show that it is a rule, custom, or it's been scheduled that this action does or does not take place. You can also actually replace this ni particle with a to particle, making it koto to natteiru, and this makes the expression a little bit more formal.
ようこそ稲橋へ。お前を預かることになってる堂島良太郎だ。
リリスが手伝ってくれることになってるけど、彼女だけじゃ人手が足りないし心配なのよ。
盾元の名手であるオルフェは13日に一度ハーデスに琴を聞かせることになっていた。
後でまた馴染みの伊達って刑事がここに来てくれることになっている。
対象支援機体の行動目的が開示されない場合、要請プロセスが30秒に一度自動的に実行されることになっている。
So, like seen here in Persona 4, at the very, very beginning of the game, Ryotaro here is going to take care of you. And so he says, azukaru koto ni natteiru. So it's been decided that he's going to take care of you. So he has some sort of arrangement with someone, and he's just stating the fact in an objective way that it's been scheduled, it's been set, that I'm going to be taking care of you. Azukaru koto ni natteiru. Or like seen here with, they're supposed to be helping. 手伝ってくれることになっている。けど, however. Or like seen here in Yakuza, he's supposed to be coming here. 来てくれることになっている. Or like here in Nier Automata, that it's been scheduled or it's been made in a way that it will happen automatically. So koto ni natteiru is simply used to express rules, customs, schedules, and things that have already been decided. And you can actually see this if you really break down the language. Koto is like a thing, ni naru is to become, so it becomes a certain way, but it's in the present tense form, natteiru, showing that it is in that state of becoming. So it is becoming that way. Which is very literal English, a bit hard to wrap your head around, but you can definitely see that connection where it's become the state where, the thing that comes before, koto ni natteiru.
しかし RK に会いたいと来たか。実はそこら中にいることはいるんだけどさ。
Next we have koto wa ga. And this is a tricky piece of language. So the general rule for this piece of language is the thing that comes before koto wa and after koto wa should be the same verb or the same adjective. And this expresses although or but. This may sound complicated, but it is pretty simple when you have a look at some examples. So a Japanese explanation of this piece of language would be ichio e suru ga shikashi. I more or less do a, however. So it shows that while you do the action that's connected, some sort of negative result follows. For example, あの本を読んだことは読んだが全然わからなかった. So I read the book, however, I don't understand it at all. Or with the explanation in Japanese, the ichio, you could see, yeah, well, I more or less read the book, but I don't understand it at all. So this koto wa ga expresses that while you did the action, the thing that follows is some sort of bad result, or not quite the result that you were looking for.
やれることはすべてやりましたが、保証はできない。
So like seen here in Full Metal Panic, I did what I was able to do. However, I can't make any assurances. So here the meaning of although can be seen. Although I did what I was able to do, I can't make any assurances. The following part is the negative result or the results that aren't necessarily desired, being unable to assure something. So the first part, yareru koto wa yarimashita. I did what I was able to do. Yaru here is to do. So I did what I was able to do, however, ga hoshou wa dekinai. Hoshou, assurances, dekinai I can't do. I'm unable to make those assurances. So this sentence means that, look, I did my best, however, I'm not sure what the outcome's going to be like. And that's exactly what this piece of grammar is used for. For example, let's say you're taking the JLPT, and you've studied for the JLPT N3, but you don't have the confidence that you can pass the test. Well, you could say, N3 の勉強したことはしたが、合格できるか自信がない. So, 勉強したことはしたが means that I did the study that I did, if you look at it literally. But this just says, although I studied, and we know that the result is going to be some sort of negative or not necessarily ideal outcome, because we see the verb with koto wa followed by the same verb and then ga, so we can see this piece of grammar being used, and so the following result, I don't have confidence that I'm able to pass. So there's that negative result. So it's quite a simple piece of grammar to get used to. When you see this verb being used twice in a sentence, and in the middle of the verb, you have koto wa, and then followed is the ga, you see that, look, I did what I was able to do, or I studied what I was able to study, or I said what I was able to say, however, the following part is a negative result. So that's it for yet another JLPT N3 grammar video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. There was some tricky pieces of grammar here, particularly the last one, koto wa ga. So hopefully this video has helped you become a little bit more familiar with these pieces of grammar and how they're used in context. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you want to support the channel, then consider liking, subscribing, and come join us on the Game Gengo Discord community on Patreon. Thanks so much, guys, for watching, and I'll see you all again next time. See ya.